Sentimental analysis video for Thursday the 23rd of April. We'll start the Aussie yen as normal. This spike took out an SLC. The first thing I noticed this morning, so they've now moved their stops higher, which is understandable. Some were taken out, and so you see the size has been reduced somewhat, and that just tells us that stops were taken. So if it enlarges, it means that they just moved them, collectively. But obviously some stops were taken, so that's why that's a bit smaller. Because the size is smaller, it's like job done. So it doesn't need to take these guys because it's already taken some. So because it's like job done, it took that liquidity and then down. Don't forget it's a sell. It's cruel it did that because it punished the smart traders, the minority, not the majority. So that spike was unfortunate, really. So you've got to be careful. That would have probably happened, so about 8 o'clock in the morning. So you would have, had to have been awake for that. It's difficult if you're in the States. That would have been 3 o'clock in the morning. So, it's tricky. The blue line's your volume indicator. It's just to say if it's pointing down, then it's like normally quite bearish. And check where price is in accordance to the volume line. These are your orders. There's that stop loss cluster, got taken out, and these are your current positions. Currently a sell, and it's sideways. But if it goes up, it's a sell. Okay, so just bear in mind, got to be careful. That was a horrible spike. Aussie dollar. There's your areas of interest, which you can see in the spreadsheet. There's your monthly pivot. It's above, as you can see. Current positions, and there's your spike. So notice the size is huge. It's sticking out like a sore thumb now. So that looks possibly likely, but it would only come down once this shifts, because at the moment it's a buy, and there would be no reason for it to come down because it wants to punish the majority normally. So because it's a buy, it would look to come up here and then down to take that. And the more it goes up, the larger this is going to become. So it's going to be more and more attractive over time. In terms of the bubbles, as you can see on the Quasidb website, for free, you can see the dollar bubble is actually strong buy. So bear that in mind. Euro Oz, let's have a look. It was very spiky yesterday. Currently a buy on the sentiment. It looks like it's falling. Got some support down here. It's going to take this SLC. They are going long over time, but sideways. So if they continue to go long, it will fall. But we're in this grey band now. So I wouldn't personally trade this one anyway. It just looks horrible to trade. Possible support down there. And this is your monthly pivot. So below is a technical bias to sell. We had some bad PMI data for the euro. The euro bubble is in an interesting place, so keep an eye out for that. It's now weakest. There's your monthly pivot. There's your resistance. That's your resistance. So that's your area of interest, which you can see on the spreadsheet. Currently a sell, and if they go long, it's more of a sell over time. So this is the time component, and this is your static, like a photograph. This is a movie. So this is constantly changing and dynamic. So check your monthly supports, your weekly supports, and your daily as well, because they'll come in handy. Cable. So we're above monthly pivot number 1, 2, 3, 4. It's really, really easy to remember. So a long above that would be could be quite good. We've got a buy on the sentiment, and they're selling, so that makes it a buy. Just keep an eye on the monthly pivot, really. If it goes below, get out. So if you're bullish, got a bullish bias, that'll be your stop loss. And hopefully it doesn't do anything like this. That'll look pretty horrible. But pending that this diagonal is a good break, you can see the highs, how it's calculated from the 22nd. So yesterday's high, you can do this on your chart, and then the 14th of April. So just draw a line, and you can see we're above, and we've got the monthly pivot support. Kiwi, above that, diagonal, we're above monthly pivot. I've just posted a Kiwi dollar chart actually on Twitter, so keep an eye out for that. Likes and retweets would be good. Got a sell on the sentiment, but you need to check it over time. If they sell it, then it's more of a buy. So add these guys. Yeah, MyFX books. So yeah, they're selling. It's coming down. So if they sell, it might come up. But remember the dollar bubble is a strong buy. Euro yen. This is one that went out to the technical channel. It broke MS1. And we're below, and we're below the volume line, which is, they call it MVP, medium volume point. Sell, and they're going long. So because they're going long, that basically tells us that they're trapped and they're trying to break even. So that's bearish. So this was an unfazed one, but then you wonder why did it not follow the euro yen? It's because it's actually a buy, and we got monthly pivot support on the pound USD. So it's fairly stable. Got monthly pivot, areas of interest. Look out for the spikes. The spike here. So we've got current positions as well. Another thing to bear in mind is that if it's above the interchange, then it's we can think of that as support, and if it's below, then that's resistance. So these are current positions. So these are people that are currently trading it and they're at a loss, or they're profiting, and normally they're at a loss. So once they start profiting, that can be slightly unusual, but it can happen. So that's like a support at 132.8. We're at 132.87. So I mean, you can use that even that as a as an exit if you wanted to. Dollar yen break above area of interest. Currently a sell. I think it has been for a long time actually. Yeah, so possibly down. This one's larger, so it's a tricky one. So yeah, it's currently a sell, but we're above that line, but we're below this one. Dollar CAD, above monthly pivot, above the medium volume point. Stop loss cluster is larger below. It's currently a buy. Yeah, really just keep an eye on those things that I'm saying, really. The interchange, the spikes, and the size of the SLCs, which is stop loss cluster, by the way, in case you wanted to know SLC. This went out as well. It was a quasi buy signal. It wasn't a directly like buy this pair, but it's just an indication of what might happen because of the bubbles. The dollar and the Swiss franc bubble diverged a lot today, and that gives us a buy indication because of the divergence between the two bubbles. I mean, it was a buy because of the monthly pivot, but we need to get that really ideally to shift to 49%, and then that would be a nice buy opportunity. This dashed line is the halfway point between monthly pivot and R1. So there's MR1 there, miles away. 9946, so 200 pips away. So that's the halfway point between those two values. It's useful. Oil does a quick run. It might be making a crossover to sell, and when it eventually comes down, it might be a good buy, but just be careful. And lastly, gold. I was wrong on this one. I thought it was going to be a trap, but I thought price would hit MR1 and fall. But there are lots of people selling it, and so fundamentally, there's lots and lots of reasons for this to come up. Sentimentally, it's a buy. The gold bubble is actually a strong buy, and the dollar bubble is a strong buy. So there's going to be a big battle here, and currently gold is a stronger buy than the dollar. So sentimentally, this should do well. Area of interests there you can see in the spreadsheet. MR2 it's ridiculous. It's up there, 1827. So crazier things have happened. The stop loss cluster below was a lot lower. It's now revised higher. That that one's larger than that one. So, you know, logically speaking, which one's going to be more attractive to push price? So yeah, subscribe to the spreadsheet and you can see these levels. I update them twice daily, so that'd be really good for you. You'd use them as target areas, and if you were trading, you know, any of these pairs, you wouldn't have your stop loss at a cluster because that's going to be the likely target. So yeah, just no trades for me today and tomorrow because I'm down because of this pair. But knowing when to exit is obviously, you know, key to trading because you need to keep your losses small. And I had a bearish bias on this, so I'm kind of glad I got out, and I'll be back on Monday. But I'm going to make this video tomorrow anyway, and have a good couple of days, and I'll speak to you soon.